The file was 72 seconds long, and Voyager does not have a microphone. That was the first thing Reyes checked at 3:40 in the morning in a Pasadena basement that smelled like burnt dust and old coffee. No microphone, no acoustic sensor, nothing on either probe that has ever been able to hear anything because sound needs air and there is no air out there. And yet the waveform on her screen breathed. It rose and fell in a slow, deliberate rhythm, the way a room full of people breathes when they are trying not to be noticed. She played it again, then a third time. Then she stopped playing it, because on the third pass she realized she had started breathing in time with it. Her name was Ana Reyes and she was 34 and she was not, by her own bitter assessment, important. She maintained archives, she checked checksums. She had wanted, at 22, to be the person who found something. Instead, she became the person who made sure nothing was lost. There is a difference, and she had spent 12 years pretending there wasn't. The file had surfaced during a routine reindex of plasma wave data, the subsystem that measures oscillating electric fields, 10 Hz to 56 kHz, a band that happens to sit right inside human hearing. That overlap is why Voyager's data can be played through a speaker at all. It doesn't hear space, it measures it, but the measurement played back sounds like a voice. The metadata said the recording was made in 1977. That was impossible in 3 separate ways, and Reyes counted them out loud to the empty room like a woman talking herself down from a ledge. 1. Voyager. 2 launched in August of 1977, Voyager 1 in September, and neither returned plasma wave data of any consequence until Jupiter in 1979. 2. The antennas that make this measurement were still folded against the hull. 3. And this was the one that made her sit back in her chair. The file's ingestion stamp said it had entered the archive 4 days ago, recorded in 1977, filed last Tuesday. She checked the log for who had uploaded it. The field was not blank. The field said her own username. She should have escalated. There is a form. There is a person whose job is to receive that form and take it seriously. Reyes opened the form, typed her badge number, and then sat looking at the cursor for 11 minutes before closing it. Because here is the truth she would not have said aloud. Some part of her wanted it to be real. 12 years of checksums, 12 years of being the custodian of other people's discoveries, and now something that could not exist was sitting in her directory with her name on it, and if she reported it, it would stop being hers within the hour. So she copied it to a local drive. She told herself it was for analysis. She knew it wasn't. For 6 nights she took it apart. She stripped the carrier. She ran spectrograms until her eyes ached. What emerged was not language. She was clear-eyed enough to insist on that. It was structure. A repeating envelope, 72 seconds long, that did not decay the way natural plasma emissions decay. Real interstellar noise sprawls. It smears across the band. This sat in a narrow channel and held. She thought of the interstellar hum, that faint, unbroken plasma tone Voyager 1 has been sensing since it crossed the heliopause, steady and featureless and utterly indifferent. This was not indifferent. This had edges. Something with edges had been placed in the middle of a noise floor, the way you place a chair in the middle of an empty field. On the 7th night, there were 2 files. The new one was also 72 seconds. Its timestamp was also 1977. And when she laid them side by side, they were not identical. They were sequential. The second picked up exactly where the first ended, the way a sentence continues after a comma. Reyes stood up so fast her chair went over. She stared at the 2 waveforms and felt the floor of her whole rational life tilt, because the implication was not that something had recorded a sound. The implication was that something was still recording, and had been for 49 years, and had only recently decided that she should be the one to open the folder. She went looking for what else happened in 1977, and she found it in about 4 minutes, because everyone who works in this field knows it. The 15th of August, 1977, the Big Ear Telescope in Ohio. A narrowband burst near 1420 MHz that ran for 72 seconds and then stopped and was never heard again. An astronomer circled the printout in red pen and wrote one word in the margin. Wow. No audio was ever recorded of it. There was no recorder, only a line printer spitting out numbers. 72 seconds. The same 72 seconds. Reyes sat in the dark with her hands flat on the desk and understood that the rumor she'd heard 100 times about 1977 audio nobody captured had gotten one detail wrong. Nobody captured it then. That was when she made her mistake. And she made it out of hunger, not stupidity. She had assumed the files were coming in. She had never checked what was going out. The Deep Space Network logs everything. Every bit received, every command transmitted, archived automatically, publicly, forever. That is the fact that should have killed her story at the start. Nothing arrives unrecorded. So she pulled the uplink log instead of the downlink. And there, threaded through 6 weeks of routine engineering commands to a probe 167 astronomical units away, were transmissions she had not authorized, sent from her terminal at hours when she had been asleep. Each one 72 seconds long. Light takes about 23 hours to reach Voyager 1 now. Any reply is a 2-day round trip. Reyes worked the timing backward on a napkin 3 times, hoping to be wrong. She was not wrong. Every inbound file landed in her directory exactly 46 hours after an outbound transmission she had never sent. It was not sending her a message, it was answering one. And somewhere in the arithmetic of that, her fear changed shape. Stopped being fear of the thing out there and became something colder and closer. Because whatever was talking, it was using her hands to do it, and it had been polite enough to wait 2 days each time for the courtesy of a reply. She filed the form at 5:12 in the morning, all of it, including the part where she had hidden the first file for 6 nights. She was suspended within a week. The investigation found what investigations find: a terminal left unlocked, credentials shared, an archivist under strain. The files were reclassified as corrupted plasma wave records with a metadata fault. They were not deleted. Nothing in that archive is ever deleted. They sit in the public catalog with an accession number and a dull descriptive title, and anyone with a browser can download them right now, today, and play them through a cheap laptop speaker. Reyes has never told anyone which number they are. That is the only thing she still controls. Here's the part that is true, and you can check every word of it. Voyager carries no microphone. Space carries no sound. What we call Voyager's audio is field data made audible. Whistlers from lightning in Jupiter's clouds, the shudder of the solar wind's outer shock, a 2 to 3 kilohertz ringing in 2012 that told us the probe had left the heliosphere at last. In 1977, a telescope in Ohio caught 72 seconds. Nobody has explained in 49 years, and no recording of it exists. Those two facts have been quietly braided together by rumor ever since. There was never a Voyager tape from 1977. That was always the wrong question. The right question is the one Reyes was left holding. Not what went unrecorded, everything is recorded, but what is sitting in a file that anyone can open. Voyager loses about 4 watts a year. Instruments have been switched off one by one, like rooms going dark in a house at the end of a long night. Sometime in the 2030s, it will stop speaking to us entirely, and it will keep going anyway, carrying a gold-plated record of whale song and greetings in 55 languages outward at 60,000 kilometers an hour, into a silence that we assumed was empty because nothing had ever bothered to answer. Reyes still checks the catalog some nights. She says the count keeps going up.